What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Sean. What's going on, fellas?
It's good,
What
y'all.
What's up?
We here. Finally,
Yes,
let's
sir.
go.
Finally.
Hey, it's been a long. It's
Took
been a
forever.
long 9 days, man. For
It
real.
has been a long 9 days since the last time that we spoke and had the podcast. Obviously, it was the day of the final game for the Mavericks and the Timberwolves. So we were just a couple hours before the conclusion of that series. So now we're officially a day away from the NBA Finals. Mavericks versus Celtics. Luka versus Jason Tatum. Kyrie versus Jaylen Brown and his former team. Kristaps Porzingis. All that. With the news of Kristaps obviously being available for Game 1, we don't know obviously how long he's going to play. How big of an impact do you think that Kristaps would have on the series, and does that change? I mean, obviously for you, Chris, I mean, you wearing the green right now, but does that change your opinion on how the series was going to go from the start?
It does. I mean, he's a stretch. I mean, he spaces the floor, and he's also a rim protector. I'm just interested to see how Dallas is going to defend that, because as we've seen in the Timberwolves series, Gafford and Lively was able to roam around. They didn't have to really play too much outside of the paint because, you have Rudy Gobert on the floor and he's not a spacer at all. So that does change the dynamic of the game itself. Still think it's going to be a tough series for either team. Still gonna go with my Celtics prediction, obviously, but it's gonna be a hell of a series, though. I'm interested. I'm ready.
Yeah, I think having Kristaps back is huge, especially with the way that their bigs are around the rim. Defensively, I think having a stretch like Kristaps would definitely he's needed in this series for y'all. I mean, both y'all bigs are stretched, but Kristaps bringing just a different element and a different spot from the floor. You know what I mean, further out. So it's huge to have him back. Now, hopefully, he is healthy enough to really make an impact. I think he is. I mean, like it's been a while. You know what I mean? Especially with them not having to push him back in to the Eastern Conference Finals, having him wait because they finished the series so quickly. I think he'll be healthy enough to make a run and do good this series. How you feel about it, Shot?
I think it's Kristaps Porzingis. He's a good player. Obviously, he's been good with the Celtics all season. And obviously he'll probably want to get some revenge against his former team as well. I don't know if it really changes the game too much, because I do think that Lively, PJ Washington, God, I can't believe
Gafford.
my boy's name from Gafford from Washington. I think they're all athletic enough to guard either Porzingis or Al Horford. Obviously, Al Horford's not going off the dribble as much as he used to, but Kristaps will do that a little bit more than him. Obviously, we're hoping so if he is healthy. The first game is going to be the most interesting one, obviously, like it always is for every series. I mean, it's to see how he's able to play, if he's going to be a liability, if they're kind of forcing him to be out there, or if he's actually healthy, like you mentioned, Cass. And then obviously, biggest thing when you're coming back from injuries is getting your rhythm back. So even if he is out there, he's obviously gonna be helpful in terms of rim protection. But when we're talking in terms of the 3-point shooting and actually, like you mentioned, spreading the court and bringing that stretch, is he hitting, or are we looking at 20%? You're trying to get back in the rhythm, because that can really make or break the series. So.
And I'm actually looking forward to him more so his shooting is really the attacking switches, because that's what he did very well this year, is when teams switched on him with a smaller player, he was able to turn around, hit the jumper like within the paint or mid-range type ordeal. So if he can start off with that consistently, then that'll how healthy he is per se. But I mean, like you said, only time will tell. I mean, we'll find out immediately if he's just dead leg tired, or is he still laboring. So we'll find that out immediately.
So, Cass, do you have the Celtics or the Mavericks winning the series?
Tough.
Now, honestly, this is a tough one. I've been going back and forth on it, but I end up settling on the Celtics, and I think the Celtics pull this off in 6. Like I said, I've been saying it all playoffs with the Mavs. Like you don't want to go game 7 with these guys. if it does go to a game 7, Mavs will probably win that. So I'm gonna go Celtics in 6. That'll be my official prediction. I just think they have a lot to prove. I know it's the same thing on both sides, of course, but especially with this squad, like I really expecting them to come out, especially in the game 1, and put their foot in the pedal, and show what they are. So we'll see. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna go Celtics 6. Sorry, no, you got Celtics. Sean, let me see. What's up? Speak up.
Chicago he can't pick against Kyrie. I know he can't.
This is tough.
It is tough for him. I know
Kyrie is my favorite player. But I honestly feel like the Celtics are due. I really feel like people have gone over the deep end, both in terms of trying to over respect Jaylen Brown, no disrespect to Jaylen Brown, but like trying to put him where he's not, and trying to completely downplay and act like Jason Tatum is just some bum.
Yeah.
But with that being said, given aside from OKC, I really felt like whoever came out of the West, those last 4 teams, whether it was Denver, the Timberwolves, or the Mavericks, I thought was probably going to be the team to win, just because it was a tougher conference. The playoffs have been a little bit tougher in on that side on the West Coast. So it's tough, but I'm going to go with the Mavericks in 7. I think it's going to end up being one of those classic series where everybody kind of gets their just due. But ultimately, like you said, going into the game 7 against Kyrie and Luka. But I think Jason Tatum has a really good series. I think Jaylen Brown has a really good series. I think we also see and get some kind of vindication for Joe Mazzulla as well. But I think ultimately, I do think, I misspoke earlier and said I don't think that the Kristaps Porzingis thing will be that big of a change. But I do think that him trying to get back in rhythm will affect the Celtics a little bit in those first couple games, which will be the swing of the series.
How many games you got it going, Chris?
6 earlier, I think last week or so. So I'm gonna stick with the 6.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be. Like I said, I don't believe that either team is just superior to the other. So I don't see no 5-game series, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with you. A 7-game series is tough to go against Luka and Kyrie in a 7-game series with game. So I'm looking for the Celtics to close it out on the road. So, and we've been undefeated on the road. 2 games we have lost. Half came at home. So don't really want to see them at home on no closeout game. So.
No, I feel you. I'm just excited to get it started. It's been a little minute since basketball, you know what I mean? So competitive basketball, honestly. Yeah.
Well,
but yeah.
Let's say men's basketball, not competitive basketball.
Oh my God.
I'm saying that I said that because of how the conference finals was.
I mean, I knew what you meant.
But yeah, competitive NBA.
Basketball.
NBA.
But with that, in the long 9-day period, I mean, we've really hit the kind of teaser or beginning of the offseason. The offseason craziness, because I mean, obviously MLB's in season, but MLB, it's really earlier in the season. There's not a lot of, in baseball, there's not huge storylines going on right now that typically happens at least in my opinion, from what I see, it's more towards the end of the season. We're just starting to pick up from the women's college basketball season, obviously, and that momentum has kind of led into the WNBA. We've talked about, the WNBA players, the rookies, obviously, at the forefront. But, we've also gotten some craziness here in the NFL as well. As well as, outside of the NBA finals, I don't know how, I guess I'm going to get your opinions on this, but in terms of how you guys feel, if this is crazy or not. But reportedly, JJ Redick is going to become the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, which everybody thinks that LeBron is also going to be there. I wouldn't, once again, put that at 100%. But how do you guys feel about the possible hire? Obviously, he hinted at it today. I think it was on Mike Golick's podcast as well. But we've gotten the reports from Shams. Some other people have kind of, Wendy said that it is not a done deal right now. So How would you guys feel about that hire in him going from the booth to head coaching for the Los Angeles?
What's taking so long? I mean, they've been
They
hitting at this for how long now?
they just wait
And it
until
just
it's
seemed
over.
like for
I don't
you to
think he
have
can
fired
officially
your
be hired.
for you to have fired a coach when early May, late April, and it's like other than JJ Redick, there hasn't been no buzz to my knowledge of in particular. So you've been liking him for this long period of time. Now, if you want to say maybe you're waiting till he's done with announcing the finals because he's going to be one of the announcers, okay, I guess. But I mean, it's interesting to see. He's very smart. I mean, I done watched his podcast plenty of time. I done seen him break down film. He know what he's talking about. He's one of those players. He kind of reminds me of a Jason Kidd, which is the head coach of the Mavericks. Like he's very intelligent. So I think I wouldn't say it's a seamless hire, but I think he will be definitely a player's coach, and I think they can relate to him. And I mean, it seemed like LeBron liked him. He already gave him a stamp, so hey, why not?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think it's too big of a jump for a first time head coach that has no experience in the front office. No, I mean he has playing experience, of course, a lot of playing experience, but no experience in the front office, no experience assistant coaching. Just pretty much just give it his content, his opinion from the outside, which is cool. Like I watch this podcast too. Of course, we've seen him on ESPN for years now, breaking down the game. But that's a big jump to go coach the Lakers.
Which is
And we
interesting, not to cut you off, but
yeah,
Joe Mazzulla wanted him on his staff, but he didn't want to take the job at the time because he said he felt like he wasn't ready. But go ahead.
that's a good point to point out. Yeah, I mean, coaching Lakers, we've seen how the coaching carousel has gone the last 7 years for that franchise, and it hasn't been friendly towards coaches at all. So I think just jumping into it, yeah, it's a great opportunity for sure. And even if he bombs at this, like he'll still land on his feet. But I also find a lot of reports, which we'll see how it shakes out, interesting about like it being a long term, process. Basically, like he's going to have a long leash, which he should, I guess. If you're really going to hire a person like JJ Redick, you should give him a long leash. You shouldn't be like expecting too much from him. So if it's really like that, then okay. But I don't like it. I don't like it there. I think
And that is a long leash. Would you want to have that case when you have LeBron and AD on your team? I mean, are you not trying to
that's why I don't
compete
like
at
the fit.
at the same time? Okay,
That's why I don't like the fit because I don't think it. I don't. Go ahead, Shaq.
I don't know if the Lakers are necessarily putting out that he's getting a long leash as more maybe his agent,
Probably.
because technically, or even if they're just reporters are just floating that out there because they are still paying Darvin Ham right now. So and there's been the rumors or the reports that the Lakers have been cheap when it comes to head coaches. So that could also possibly be a reason why JJ Redick is the front runner because he is somebody coming straight out of the booth. You could probably get him cheaper than I think the only other seriously reported, of like serious interest was James Borrego. And obviously he's been a head coach in the past. Kenny Atkinson has been a head coach in the past. We'll see what happens with Monty Williams if they start to look at him. I'm honestly surprised they haven't. There's been no reports of JB Bickerstaff being somebody that they'd be interested in, but
I don't know if they interviewed,
obviously
but
LeBron has
I think I heard them say something about Sam Cassell too. But go ahead.
Sam Cassell, but they said Sam Cassell early on, but Sam Cassell I feel like hasn't been reported for any head coaching spots since the beginning. Obviously, when everybody first
Right.
started getting fired at XYZ, and then I also saw, and this is Brian Windhorst. Obviously, he's plugged into Cleveland. He's from Ohio and whatnot. That the word is that the Cavs job is supposed to be the one that's more coveted. Give it, you can take that for whatever you want. So maybe that is also why there's a push for JJ Redick to go to the Lakers. But I mean, I don't hate it. I'm indifferent towards it because number one, and I have a question for you after that, so I'll leave that till after what I say. But I mean, obviously, he is an all-time great college basketball player. He was a really good NBA player. He's shown to be somebody that was knowledgeable of the game. He's had a successful podcast of his own. And then obviously it seems to be a successful podcast with LeBron truly breaking the game down. He's been on, ESPN First Take and all that whatnot. So, I mean, one of the things that was reported from the Darvin Ham was that, we seen the videos of Darvin Ham in the huddle.
That video
No
crazy.
disrespect to Darvin
That
Ham,
shit
but
crazy.
some of the videos, we can't truly hear everything specifically what he's saying, but it does look like, the players are all like, looking around, like, and there's reports that they felt like he really didn't know what he was doing, which, I think on that front, that is an improvement. I don't think anybody's going to be saying JJ Redick doesn't know what he's doing. Obviously, we've seen what he's done through his career. Like I said, just ran through everything. So obviously he's going to, if LeBron is there, let's put that if there. If LeBron is there, he's obviously going to have buy-in from, or you would think that he would have buy-in from the best player on the team or the most important voice on the team, I guess. If you want to say AD is the best. And, I also think that being obviously Darvin Ham was a former player as well. And there's been a bunch of former players that have gone to be head coaches: Pat Riley, Ty Lue, Ime, Steve Kerr, Phil Jackson, Jason Kidd. Obviously, he's in the finals now. And then on the other flip side, it's like the Steve Nashes, Mo Cheeks, Isaiah Thomas was, up and down. But you would think I don't think that the Lakers are just I don't think that they are bottom of the Western Conference talent wise. So I do feel like JJ Redick might, if he is anything better than what the hell Darvin was doing, he could possibly get the best out of, if they can't improve the team and LeBron does stay, he could possibly get the best out of a D-Lo, out of an Austin Reeves. Because it didn't look like, in my opinion, D-Lo played better this year, but do you think that Austin Reeves really improved? He played well this season, even though he had a couple haters, but did he improve? Like,
he didn't improve, so he trash.
He still getting put in that action.
He's not ass, like, but,
He's not
ass.
He's not ass. I think, like you're saying, though, I think the biggest upgrade, I think it will be an upgrade mainly because I guess you could say situational awareness, and we talked about that with Darvin, with Hot Pockets, all season.
Yeah, Hot Pockets.
As far as his lineups, as far as getting moments. Yeah, basketball is a lot goes into it, as far as moments and how you handle runs and how you handle your own runs. And I think that's subs that situational awareness.
What you say, Shy? He had Dinwiddie and a whole bunch of nobodies.
Torian Prince,
Gabe Vincent, and in key playoff moments. No disrespect to them, but clearly that's not the lineup that's played together at all throughout the season. Like, come on.
Yeah. So I think that'll be the biggest thing, that if he is hired there, to look forward to, somebody that you can hope. We don't know exactly how he's going to be as a coach, but from everything that he's saying, from everything that we know about him so far, you would think that he'll be upgrade in that part of it. Just situational awareness, how you handle certain moments throughout the game. And really, that's like you said, it's less about talent and more about that with the Lakers, I feel like. Because it's not that, like you said, it's not that much of a difference from the team that went to the West Conference Finals the year before. And
even then, we saw that Denver was, even if you want to say Denver is better than the Lakers, we saw that Denver was a flawed team in the playoffs this, over the past, month or so. There's no reason, I don't care what anybody says, there's no reason that Lakers team that had multiple big leads on them could not have won that series. And a lot of it came down to the Nuggets are on there making their way back, and it's Spencer Dinwiddie, Gabe Vincent, Torian Prince, Jackson Hayes, and AD on the court, and it's make it work. And it's like, all right, come on. And I know they got to be in there looking like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
You've seen the frustration. So, it would be different if there was another coach. I feel like if there was another coach that was like, Mark Jackson, I don't understand. I still don't understand why he's not, the politics or whatever. I don't understand why he's not even getting an interview. but I don't see any other coach that you could like, especially with Mike Budenholzer being gone, that you can like pound the table to be like, all right, we need to.
That's true.
So
that's true. But if I was
like
JJ, I would choose the Cavs job over the Lakers job personally, in my opinion.
Which right now it's seeming like Kenny Atkinson is the front runner.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if Monty Williams throws his hat in that ring. Supposedly, like I said, this is what Windhorst says, so you can take it with however you like. That the Cavs job is the one that is more desirable. But I mean, which would make sense given the youth of the team, where the team is, what moves you could possibly make or keep the team, however you'd like to do it. Or LeBron coming, but I mean, hey.
LeBron can't come to Cleveland with Jay. All right.
But moving to the NFL side of the kind of crazy, I guess, not necessarily crazy, but boring, when people just get to talking about nonsense during the downtime of the offseason. We've got Wolfing, exactly. We got CJ Stroud. He was on the $1 million worth of game podcast with Gillian Wallow podcast. Great podcast, by the way. Shout out Gillian Wallow.
Talking his shit.
And Aaron, he was taking a lot of shots at Aaron Rodgers, and it really just seems like, just generally across the sports. Hold on. Pause. Before we even get into that, I do want to ask y'all one more thing on the JJ Redick topic. Do you guys think that the sentiment about JJ being the Lakers coach or just a head coach in general would be different if LeBron didn't have a podcast? Do you think that it would be received better? Because it does seem like a lot of people are like, oh, he's only there because Bron is his podcast meet and whatnot.
It's hard to say. I don't think so, though.
I mean, I would agree because the sentiment in general is LeBron runs the team. So LeBron does this. Whatever person they get is LeBron, which, I mean, not necessarily true because he clearly wanted Kyrie. They ain't go get him. So he don't, or Ty Lue. So he don't get everything he wants. But that's the sentiment of any LeBron James team is, you got to run it through him. So because he's always on the podcast and all of a sudden now he won it. So that's the view of most people. So I would agree with that though.
I don't know. I think it would be the same kind of talk even if they didn't have the podcast. I think if it wasn't a podcast, honestly, something would have leaked out about their relationship. You know what I mean? Like, or somebody would have made some shit up about their relationship. I think it doesn't matter. That's my take on it.
Okay. But back to what I was saying about the NFL. Obviously, CJ Stroud was on the $1 million worth of game podcast, and he was just taking shots. To me, in my opinion, you guys might not feel that way. We'll see that here in a few minutes. But number one, the first thing he said was he'd rather have Eli Manning's career than Aaron Rodgers, and I want to know you guys' thoughts on that. The idea is basically Eli Manning has 2 rings. Aaron Rodgers has 1, which is really what it comes down to generally. Having more Super Bowl rings or having that 1 less. How do you guys feel about that?
I think that was very dumb to say. Yeah,
I mean, I get what he's saying as far as the rings aspect, but let's be real. It's you saying that's what you like, okay. But universally known, nobody likes Eli Manning. Nobody would take him, honestly. Most people are saying he's mediocre. If he gets into the Hall of Fame, it ain't going to mean anything anymore because they feel like he shouldn't even be in there. He shouldn't even be part of any kind of Hall of Fame conversation. The only reason why is because he has those 2 Super Bowls. Mind you, the defense carried him to those 2 Super Bowls, so that's another thing. But I mean, he led the league in interceptions like a lot. Like I don't know. I don't agree with him. I don't know. But if he talking about strictly ring, like you said, Shot, you're not talking like he Brady with 6 and Aaron Rodgers has 1. It's 2-1. So
that's my thing on it. Like, it's not like A-Rod doesn't have any rings and just 4 MVPs. Like, he has a ring, and I mean that's the main thing. If you got 1, that means you're proving and playing like A-Rod did, throughout his whole career. It's not a debate at all. I don't know why CJ said that shit, to be honest with you. I really feel like he was just he was too comfortable. He was just talking. and not even really putting too much logic in what he
Been
was
doing
saying.
a lot of that this offseason.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
but
because it really sounds like
gonna
he's
put too much.
saying 2-0. That's what he made it
That's
sound
what
like.
that's what he made it
he
seems
has
like.
2
But
and Aaron Rodgers has none. Yeah.
but
Even
what
if
is
Aaron
CJ
Rodgers
like?
had 0, I'm not.
I mean, I agree, but I'm saying
Right,
how he
but
was
like
speaking, he was like the rings carry so much weight, and it's like, well, it's 2-1.
yeah. And what is CJ is 23, 24. I'm not taking too much stock from that shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really not. I know he didn't watch too much of that growing up either. So
what do you put? Well, you say you don't put enough stock. You don't put too much stock in that.
yeah,
But then he doubles down and says that if Matt Stafford switched spots with Aaron Rodgers throughout his career, that he would have had 3 or 4 rings. Now he was trying to give Matt Stafford some props, but what do y'all feel about that?
I feel like he was just talking on that shit too. Matt Stafford, okay, yes, he had some really bad seasons. He had some really bad luck too. You know, he had some injuries early on as well. Still had talented teams around him at certain points in his career. You know, I don't think if you just put him on any of those A-Rod teams, yes, I do respect Matt Stafford's talent. I think he's a very talented quarterback. But I think if you're talking about talented quarterback to talented quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is even more talented than him. So
Get
I don't
Aaron
even
Rodgers Megatron, bro.
I don't even know what we really. I don't even like. I'm listening to that podcast, and I'm just like, he's trying to give flowers, but like he was shitting on A-Rod a little bit. I don't know if that was in intent, but it was like, dude, like, have you really watched him, or have you just watched him his last 4 years? Have you really watched what this guy was doing as soon as he started at 20 whatever he was 26, 25? Like I don't know. It's a very weird interview, and it was kind of like the way that Gilly and well, mainly Gilly was acting. It kind of
gassing him.
It kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of stand on it a little bit more, and it was like, wait, hold on now.
Shout out, Gilly funny.
Yeah,
Gilly be getting so high. He's so funny, bro.
like, I'm like, you couldn't even stay in his seat for most of that shit.
Bro, as soon as he said, when he was talking shit about the Colts linebacker, he said, I wanted to get him in that mode. I'm like, this nigga crazy, bro. This nigga crazy, bro. Bro, Gilly, shout out Gilly, bro. But man, he's bugging, bro. Like, and he gonna find out so quickly because, first of all, Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers were in the same division, bro. Like, and we know who was coming out. Like, it's the disrespect for Aaron Rodgers, and I mean the disrespect for Aaron Rodgers has gotten to a point where it's getting way out of hand. Like, and I feel like it. I mean, obviously, we can call it spade a spade. It has a lot to do with how he's been personality wise over the past couple of years. But like, bro, like we've gotten to a point. I see the show on Speak. We not to be confused with the Speak Up Sports podcast. On Speak with Acho and Shady McCoy and Joy and James Jones, who's a former receiver for the Green Bay Packers. They be on there talking like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers only win 1 Super Bowl. Like, bro, like we've overcorrected so hard on these rings, even Jason Tatum. Like Jason Tatum, there is not many players. You could probably count on your hands the amount of players that have had a better start to their career than Jason Tatum. But we act like Jason Tatum is just some bum. Nobody's sitting here talking about. They're just talking about Luka Doncic which I mean I think Luka. Personally, I do think Luka is better than Jason Tatum, but I don't see why Jason Tatum. They're saying if Luka wins, he's bona fide best player ever or best player in the league. I don't see why Jason Tatum doesn't have that same claim. So, but Aaron Rodgers, I mean, they like, oh, he's got 1 Super Bowl ring. He's got 1 Super Bowl ring. They act like this man just playing like a bum in the playoffs. This man has been to the playoffs 11 times. He's been to 5 NFC championships. He's had multiple losses come in overtime where he didn't touch the ball. He had one come at the end of literally a game-winning field goal at the end of the game. He's thrown 45 touchdowns and 13 interceptions throughout his playoff career. Like,
come on, man.
Bruh, like,
There's not too many quarterbacks you can name for real that has won recently that won multiple besides you talking about your Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
And he's talking about 3. You talk about 3 and 4, like, bro, like There's Troy Aikman, Terry Bradshaw, Tom, Pat Mahomes, who just got his third last year, and
then if you want to add Manning, he got 2.
no, I'm talking about 3.
Oh, you
We
talking about 3? You
about
said
3.
3. My
Yeah,
bad.
3 or
Yeah,
4.
He said
yeah.
3 or
So
4.
yeah,
Joe Montana, and then Joe Montana. There's 5 dudes. Like, what are we
yeah.
talking about, bruh? And I mean, I guess you want to count I think Steve Young would have 4 or 3 or 4, but he was only a starter for 1. So
Uh-huh.
And
like,
they ain't gonna say that about Drew Brees. He only got 1.
bro, like let me read off some stats for y'all. Just to
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
bro. Okay, so Eli Manning in 16 years, 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions, 7 rushing touchdowns. He made the playoffs 6 times. He had a record of 8-4, obviously with 2 rings, 18 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Right.
Uh-huh.
So let me repeat what Aaron Rodgers did. So I said in the playoff, when people want to focus on the playoffs so much, he made it 6 times. He went 8-4, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. In the playoffs alone, Aaron Rodgers has been 11 times. He has a record of 11-10. He has 1 ring, 45 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So he's got 27 more touchdowns and 4 more interceptions. Okay. Let me go to the regular season because the regular season matters too. Eli Manning, I said, played 16 years, 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions.
That's
Aaron
nasty.
Rodgers in 15 years, so 1 less year, and this is taking away his lack of a year with the Jets and then his first 3 seasons when he didn't start. 475 touchdowns, so over 100 more touchdowns in 1 less year. 105 interceptions to 244. Okay, plus 35 rushing touchdowns to Eli Manning's 7. So well over 100 touchdowns and well under 100 less interceptions. Well over 100 less interceptions.
That is crazy.
Let's look at Matt Stafford. Both played 15 years, basically, with, Aaron Rodgers played a little bit more games because Matt has been hurt throughout multiple seasons compared to Aaron Rodgers. So keep that in mind. But both played 15 seasons. Matt Stafford, and I love Matt Stafford. I'm a dog fan, all that. 357 touchdowns, 180 interceptions, 15 rushing. In the playoffs, he's made the playoffs 5 times, 4-4 record, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Let me repeat Aaron Rodgers again. 475 touchdowns to Matt Stafford, 357 in the same time span. 105 interceptions to Matt Stafford's 180 in the same time span. And as I mentioned, Aaron Rodgers has played a few more games. 35 rushing touchdowns to Matt Stafford's 15. Like, bro, like,
yeah,
please.
This narrative around, like, when CJ said that shit about Matt Stafford, if you put Matt Stafford on the Packers, that's how you know you didn't watch.
Right,
what was
bro.
going like,
please.
That's come on, man. Come on.
Like, Aaron Rodgers has like 5 seasons of 40 or more touchdowns. Matt Stafford has like 2. I don't even think Eli has 1. Like, bro, come on, bro. Y'all got to stop. I get it.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers has been, saying some crazy shit. He might say some stuff that you don't agree with politically, whatever the case may be. But as a football player, y'all got to stop disrespecting this man. Because if Aaron Rodgers wins the Super Bowl this year, it's a 4-time MVP with 2 Super Bowl rings, and
for 2 different teams.
2 different teams. Next year, we're going to be looking like the Jets are probably going to be the favorite. I mean, depending on how the season goes, next year we're talking about Garrett Wilson, who's still under contract, Sauce Gardner, who's still under contract, Breece Hall is still under contract, Quinn Williams, who's under contract, all those young edge rushers, the young one, who they just signed. They just got Hassan Redick from the Eagles. They got Jermaine Johnson. I mean, they drafted a pass rusher last year. I mean, the team is young. They're all under contract. You might have to sign back those, maybe Tyron Smith or Mike Williams, which I think Mike Williams might be on a 2-year. So,
they drafted a left tackle, yeah.
There's a good possibility that we could be talking about Aaron Rodgers winning 3 Super Bowls, in the next 2 years. I'm not saying that it's going to happen for sure. And then we're talking about a guy with 3 Super Bowls and 4 MVPs. Is he the best quarterback? I mean, if they win the Super Bowl this year, are we going to say Aaron Rodgers is not the best quarterback in the league? I mean, I get it. It's Pat Mahomes, but we're still talking about a 4-time MVP. and at that point, a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. I mean, a 2-time Super Bowl winner.
If he shows that he's not slowing down, if it looks like he can go another couple seasons like he's talking,
And
after winning this championship that happens this year, because that Jets team is we talked about it, the additions that they made throughout the offseason, and we really like this team. Of course, it hinges on his health, but I think we all really like this team, and it's very possible that he could that they could make a run. It's possible. So yeah, I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers is still that guy to me. You know what I mean? Like he's never fallen from that, in my opinion. Of course, you know, you turn on First Things First, and they joke about it too and shit on there. Everybody except for Brew. But then they talk about he hasn't thrown for 300 yards in the last blah, 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 30 something games. Like, okay, let's talk about circumstances and situations here.
Look, man, there's only a few quarterbacks in the league that you can they get the ball last, you like shit. This nigga can go win this game.
Is one of them.
Aaron Rodgers is definitely one of them. Shit, he can go win his fucking game.
Yeah, like, come on, bro. Like,
yeah, this is a pro Aaron Rodgers podcast.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
Sure.
Well,
I mean, talent wise, on the field, on the field.
That's a good clarification. Yeah. Got to clarify that one for sure.
But moving to our next week of rankings. Last week we gave y'all our top 10 receivers, or who we projected to be the top 10 receivers by the end of the season. No definite ranking system or no like definite order. This week we're gonna give you guys our running backs. So, Chris, you want to go ahead and get us kicked off?
Yeah. All right. So top running backs coming into the year, I have Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, Bijan Robinson, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacob, and I got Breece Hall. As far as Breece Hall, I was thinking about that one at the end, but I think they're going to lean a lot on the running game. This year still got the weapons on offense, and that's going. He's a home run hitter, so I think he's gonna have a big year this year.
Especially another year removed from his injury. I like that list a lot.
I'm surprised you went with Aaron Jones. Obviously, you know, he's getting up a little bit up there in age, but
man, that man tough, man. I mean, he can.
Especially with a rookie quarterback, they're going to be leaning on the run game as well, leaning on him a lot, I think.
And I mean, I feel like a lot of the running backs, you know, just when I was kind of going through it and thinking about it, it's a little bit tougher, you know, because you got guys like Alvin Kamara, he's not necessarily slowing down, but he is getting a little bit up there in age. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got up and comers like you mentioned, Kyron Williams, Pacheco, Gibbs.
I even thought about throwing but I mean, you got him and Mostert, so that was a confusing thing.
And they took the running back from Tennessee, Jalen Wright, who could get some, you know, make some moves too. So there's a lot of running backs by committee. So it was really, you know, I felt like it was a lot of based on opportunity too. So who you got, Cass?
Similar in a way. McCaffrey, of course. Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley. That's my top 5 personally. And you got Breece Hall, with him in mind too, Chris. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's in mind as well. I think he has a good chance to get way more snaps and have way more production this year. Another year under his belt. Kyron Williams, Travis Etienne, I got him in there. And I got James Cook rounding out the top 10. Now, this is purely projection, of course, especially with James Cook. But I really like what I saw at the end of last year. And I really think like it wasn't a fluke. And I really think that's going to be a big part of the game plan going forward this year for them to utilize him.
Yeah, James Cook, I mean, like I said, it's tough. James Cook, it's all about opportunity. You know, it's all about opportunity. And like, you know, James Cook, I didn't have him in my 10, but, you know, I contemplated it. The reason that I didn't have him in my 10 is because I didn't know how he was going to hold up throughout the entirety of the season. You know, so that remains to be seen. But it was a lot of guys that had a strong end to the season. Like you said, Travis Etienne, he had more of a stronger beginning to the season. But Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs. But for my 10, probably the same 5 like everybody's. Christian McCaffrey. I think Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry are probably going to be the guys that, if Derrick Henry, obviously he's a little bit getting up there in age, I think those are the 2 guys that probably had the best season just because of the the dual threat with the quarterback. Bijan and Saquon as well. We'll see how he gets with the touchdowns and the tush push. Brees Hall, I think he had a great end to the season. Jahmyr Gibbs as well had a great end to the season and into the playoffs as well. Kyron Williams, I'm surprised that everybody on the list had Kyron Williams, but I mean Kyron Williams has been eating for the past 2 seasons. And I think the Rams love to run the ball, so I think that's just going to continue. And they loved him the season before too, and he just was hurt, so. But my last two were probably my toughest ones. I went with Isaiah Pacheco for the Chiefs because obviously they have a good interior offensive line, and they're still working on their tackles. But with having Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and then we'll see what happens with Rashee Rice. Those two speed demons, you're gonna have some guys not filling in the box. So. No, not gonna have a whole lot of single high safeties and stuff like that. So, I think that he's the biggest beneficiary from that. And then I went with Josh Jacobs. He's kind of been on a tear for the past couple seasons. He's been good really since his last year at Alabama. Coming into the season, he had one kind of down year in the NFL, but the Packers love to run the ball. I don't think that what's old boy with the thunder thighs pause? AJ Dillon.
Yo.
Hey, that everybody knows him as that, so I'm just letting him know. But he ain't too effective. I do like him as a player, but I think that Josh Jacobs gets the bulk of that.
Yeah,
Packers eat.
This disclaimer I wanted to
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna I still think Nick Chubb's the top 10 running back in this league. Of course, we'll see how soon he can come back from this injury. I saw his report. I think he was in an interview or something. I saw a headline today talking about how he's very appreciative of what the Browns did for him as far as giving him re-upping his contract a little bit. So he has some security going into this rehab. Yeah, so but he's still a top 10 running back in this league, and I still and we've seen him come back from a horrific injury and ball out. So maybe he has a little bit left in him. I wouldn't put it past him. He's a freak of nature, so we all seen it. So
yeah, it was very tough. But what were you about to say, Chris?
I was gonna say I also thought about Swift, but I just think that they're gonna lean heavy on the passing game for Chicago. But it is very much opportunities for him to eat in that offense, but. I feel like they're just gonna pump up Caleb Williams, and they're gonna be.
It's a lot of young running backs in the league, man.
Did y'all have any rookies that y'all thought could sneak in? Because I know y'all had some rookies that you thought were young players that you thought could possibly sneak in with the receivers.
Brooks will probably be the only one I have possibly sneaking in. Brooks, but other than that. We'll see. It's running back by committee there too, Carolina. So he might not get the touches this year, but going forward, it is possible that he could be a legit running back in this league. I think he has that skill set.
Yeah, I thought a couple of them between him and Tracy, it just was going to come down to opportunity, and they might have a strong end to the season, but it throughout the entirety of the season to call them top 10. But
Not this year for running backs. Not this year for running backs.
Because even if you look at last year, even you got Bijan Robinson, he was still splitting carries with Tyler, and then Jahmyr Gibbs, he was still splitting carries with the David Montgomery. So that's just how it's going to be for them for their first year. So
yeah, that's for sure. Excuse me. And honestly, thus far on our receivers, on the two lists, I want to say I had Pittman. So Pittman and JT. I think we all had Jahmyr Gibbs and St. Brown. I'm trying to think of who else. Cass had Cooper Kupp, so Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams. We all had AJ.
I had Drake
Cass
and Bijan.
Also had Drake and Bijan. And I had AJ and Saquon.
Yeah, same.
Well, y'all had AJ and Saquon too, right?
I had,
and then Brees. Cass had Brees and
Garrett
Wilson.
Yeah.
So, and then Cass, I said C-Mac and Ayuk.
Yep.
No, Cass
So
did, didn't you?
yeah,
You said
I had
So
Ayuk rounding
yeah.
out mine.
So you got basically you're
At them
thinking
duos.
you're thinking the 49ers, the Jets, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Lions, and
Yeah,
the Rams are going to be probably 6 of the top 10 offenses in the league.
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of who else. I don't think the Chiefs will have. Well, Chiefs will be up there. But like who? What other teams? Okay,
Buffalo,
possibly
the
Buffalo.
Ravens.
Ravens.
I
Okay,
think the
that's
Colts are
three.
100%. I'm
Bengals,
not
maybe.
the Houston. Some
See
people
the
might say.
see the
I think the
Bengals
Colts are 100% going to be a top 10 offense, which is why
top
I
10.
asked. That was my thought because
Okay,
they're
now I
the
see where
top
you're
10.
going there. If anybody wasn't top 10, I would probably say it'll be the Jets. But the rest of those teams, I gotta go. I think they'll be top 10 offense. Yeah, I'm standing on that.
Maybe we need to get into our rankings there. But yeah, that was my thought. Because I mean, I think the Colts, they were a top 10 offense this past season. Which I mean, I'm a proponent that the past seasons don't matter anything, but it is also the only records we have from
To work
shades
with.
like in Indy. So,
Yeah.
But some of the
but
teams, I think they could be top. I just don't like, even for the Colts. I don't know who Anthony Richardson, target his favorite target is, so I couldn't necessarily say Pittman is going to be y'all. He could, man. He might come fuck around a little AD. We don't know.
We'll see. I mean,
Pittman
but
and Josh Downs.
Down. We don't know. Shit.
Hey, like you said, hey, you already named about 3 receivers. Nigga, fuck you talking about? Yeah, that's
And
why
that's why
top
I
10.
didn't put Pittman in the top 10. I just said that. That's why I put Pittman in the top 10. I just said I think y'all offense can be that. I just don't know if y'all have that
We'll see.
dominant top receiver. That's all I was saying.
We'll
Trash.
see. Speaking of receivers, before we sign off, we got the richest contract, the richest non QB contract signed by the great Justin Jefferson. How do you guys feel about that?
got that bag.
That money.
Got that bag.
That
So I mean,
money.
we talked a little bit about the receiver contracts kind of booming, and I'm not gonna ask does he deserve it because I mean I think they all deserve it, and I also think that we would all have had the same answer of yes. Do you think that CD or Jamar should eclipse his number, or how do y'all feel about that? And then with the possibility of Tyreek Hill too getting a re-up.
I don't think it should be the top paid wide receiver in the league. But of course, the market is the market, and timing matters, and all of this. I would not be surprised if Jamar does eclipse that. I think he has a chance to. Now, as far as CeeDee Lamb, it's more complicated because, like, are you really about to pay if you do end up keeping Dak, which I think they'll come around to keeping Dak. Are you really about to pay him $55 to $60 million a year? Pay CD over 35. Pay Micah over 35. That's a lot tied up in 3 players. I get it, like it's Dallas and it's whatever, but that's still the cap is the cap, and that shit hurts. So I think it's more complicated for Dallas, but I would not be surprised if Jamar gets more. I wouldn't hate it. I mean, it is what it is. Time matters, as we've seen.
Run to eclipse it. Should maybe Jamar. I mean, really, both of them should. I mean, CD Lamb had a good ass year. I mean, he's clearly their best weapon on offense. I mean, he's slot outside, run the whole route tree. I mean, Dak's favorite target. I mean, we can easily say without CD Lamb, Cowboys ain't gonna do shit. That's very easy to say. So I wouldn't be shocked if he do eclipse it. I just think it's crazy that they allowed Justin Jefferson signed first. I mean, I would assume that you would have tried to get him signed before that because even if it wasn't Justin Jefferson, you knew Jamar Chase would have been up there too. Maybe not that high up, but if he would have signed before them, he'd have been close to that. So it's like, well, at what point do you want to, like Cass said, like you got 3 people you looking to possibly sign. I mean, are you willing to go ahead and let that go? Do you see your quarterback next year in the draft or something like that?
It's tough decisions to make because like those are 3 top positions. Like you're going to pay the top quarterback in the league, the top receiver in the league, and the top end of the league, and
because literally before Justin Jefferson, the top non-quarterback was a DN and Nick Bosa. So
And there's problems that you want to have when you're a Super Bowl winning
Right,
team
exactly. Not when you're out in the first round.
Not when you're out in the first round. But,
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think CD should eclipse it. I think Jamar Chase could. I think either could or get the exact same. I think they are, and obviously Jamar Chase they were on the same team, and Jamar Chase was the clear better receiver.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Jefferson. But it
Yep.
wasn't close. Like it really wasn't. So CD on the other hand, I mean, I think he's great. I would probably have him at the bottom of my top 5 if I was to order it. Even if I did, I don't know if I would have him in my top 5 completely. But obviously, he was All Pro this past season. He's been All Pro twice in his career. So, as far as the decisions that the Cowboys had to make, like I said, I mean, from the start, I mean, it's decisions that you would like to have if you're a Super Bowl winning organization, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can't hide away from your job. Like, your job is to draft. I mean, if you get the ability to add key positions, you want to sign them, and then it's your job to draft and figure out the rest of the team. So, I mean, other teams made it work. The Colts, using my own team, they had Reggie Wayne, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, and still made it work. Bob Sanders, Anton Mathieu. Like, the Chiefs got Travis.
Shit, the Eagles trying to make it work.
Chris Jones, Eagles trying to make it work. Like, you got to make it work. You got to make it work. You got to figure it out. And, I mean, the toughest decision is going to be what happens with DeMarcus Lawrence, in my opinion. I think he's really more key to what the Cowboys like to do more than – I mean, obviously Parsons is a better player, but I think that, like Josh Hart said, what did he say? Derek White has a bigger impact than Jason Tatum.
Tatum.
I'm saying DeMarcus Lawrence is a little bit more important to some of the things that the Cowboys want to do because they don't have a specific replacement. So,
now I feel you on that. I mean, we'll see how it is. Of course, Micah came out with he had an interview making waves again about how his relationship with Zimmer and
how only saying 20 words to each other. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's the only thing you can say about it, really. Yeah,
he could be playing his cards and maybe trying to, get some extra money or some shit, trying to be a malcontent for a little bit. I don't know what he's got going on, but
him and CJ together this summer just been wolfing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it came back to bite Micah. It came back to bite Micah this past season. We'll see if it does come back to bite him again. And then CJ, I mean,
see, that's tough with CJ because you know what they say about that second year, man. When the folks got that tape on you, they see what your tendencies are.
Sophomore slump.
Like that shit.
Like a ton of bricks,
I cannot wait until this first game because
that shit might hit like a ton of bricks.
He was talking that shit.
He was, and I mean, like I said, the Colts have been, once again, it's my squad, so you got y'all, the listeners, y'all can take this with credibility. Whatever the fuck you want to do is biased as fuck. Colts have been sitting quiet, sitting pretty for a team that was a top 10 offense last year with a backup quarterback. I mean, and their starting running back, two best players didn't play most of the season. I'm just saying, them Texans, that CJ Stroud could turn right to it, just like I said about the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. It could very well be at the end of the season where we're looking at, CJ Stroud, are you the third best quarterback in your own division? People talk about him top 3 in the league. He can turn real quick. We're gonna see.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
If they get smacked game 1,
nah, they better win game 1.
I mean,
they're gonna set the tone for the season.
Like I said, in the previous season doesn't have that much bearing on the next season, but last season they did play a 4th place schedule, not a 1st place schedule. That schedule's a little rough. We all through it right now. The schedule's a little rough now.
It is a little rough. Wait, hold on. What is the Texas schedule?
I think I just had that bit pulled up. So they got Colts game 1, Bears, then the Vikings, Jaguars, Bills, Patriots, Colts again, Jets, Lions, Cowboys, Titans, Jaguars, Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens, Titans.
Hold on. So they got. Hold on.
They got-
Let's back it up.
Yeah,
Let's
that
back it
shit-
up. Let's
That
back it
shit
up.
nasty at the end. That
from
shit
week-
is nasty.
From week 10 to the rest of the season, you have
What's week 10? The Lions or the Jets?
you had the Lions.
Fuck week 10.
You had the Lions. You had at the Cowboys. You have 2 divisional games.
No. You gotta go back. You really gotta go back two
Start
more
with
games.
week 4. Start with week 4.
Nah, because they gotta play the Packers, then the Colts.
Listen. Week 4, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars division game, so it's always tough. You got to count. Buffalo, your gimme game is the Patriots, which is it's the Patriots.
Right.
Week 7 is the Packers, then another division
In
game
Green
with the
Bay.
Colts.
Yeah.
In Green Bay, then you go see the Colts. Then you go see the Jets on a short week on Thursday night. Then you go see the Lions. Then you go see the Lions at the Cowboys. 2 back-to-back division games in Tennessee and Jacksonville. You get your bye. Then coming out the bye, you get Miami, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and another division game.
That Chiefs, Ravens, Miami.
Okay.
We gonna see what they about. We gonna see what they about.
I'm just saying, at the end of the season, when we look back and we're wondering what the hell happened, I'm just saying.
Ooh,
What you say, Cad? Gauntlet, nigga.
It's a
I
gauntlet.
called my shot last year, and I damn near got it right.
And a gauntlet with all those primetime games, too.
Damn, they get to see you sell in person? Nuts.
That's the thing, and that's what I'm saying. Like, your gimme games, even if you want to say the Colts are going to be trash or Anthony Richardson isn't that good, blah, blah, blah.
It's a division game.
Tennessee,
you can't say that.
Tennessee or Jacksonville aren't that good. Your gimme games are your division games. That's what you're looking forward to is your gimme games, is your division games. Okay. We'll see.
Like your gimme game, exactly. Your division games, and then you got Patriots in Chicago. So Chicago is also a primetime game. Chicago fuck around and win that game too.
In your home opener? Okay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. But like you know how it is, like the off season wolfing. But like this shit right here is another level. I think he's just talking too much.
Excuse me. And we're gonna see it more and more, with the fact that
we're on podcasts out and stuff. Yeah,
social media, podcasts, and stuff like that. So, yeah. I mean, we're definitely gonna have to reframe how we view stuff like that. Like, is it because in the past, somebody said something like that, it's huge. Like now, it's like, I mean, it's a big deal, but it's also like
Yeah, he just talking. He just cutting up on the podcast. Yeah,
we'll see.
Gotta back this shit up.
But that gives us a wrap, man. Another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast in the books. Make sure you like and subscribe to us on YouTube and all social media platforms. And we'll catch y'all next week.
Yes, sir.